I'm Tabitha Rock.
And I'm Sam Davenport.
Born and bred in Melbourne, we live and breathe property, and we know the Melbourne market like the back of our hand. We've both been buying and selling real estate in Metro Melbourne for over 2 decades combined, and we've learned a few lessons along the way.
First time in the studio is a lovely past client of ours. Usually we have, the building inspector and the builder and the architect and all those boring people, but this is a fun one. Emma.
I'm honoured to be here.
Thank you so
Thank you
for joining us. We know you listen to the podcast.
I do every week.
So now
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
The Property Culture Podcast every
I miss
week.
it. I'm hanging on it.
Oh, I love it. Oh, my gosh. It'll be so funny when you have to listen to yourself.
It'll be awful. I'm not going to listen to this episode.
You are.
I always want to know what people think when they listen to themselves. Because
horrible.
the architect who we spoke to, he was like, he never listened to it.
No, but his
I'm like, you
wife
gotta
did. Remember we
listen.
met her and she was like,
Yeah.
I actually thought he was great, blah, blah,
He
blah.
was.
He was.
You're
You
just
will
not
be
used
too.
to hearing yourself talk.
No, I
Like,
know
do I
not.
sound like that?
I know. Do I say
know.
that many times? Do I
Yes.
swear that much?
Do I laugh
It's-
like this?
Whoa.
what
who's
I-
that?
I just did it and I was like, oh.
I know.
No,
I know.
We love a lol on this podcast.
We love a
We
good
do.
lol.
That's why we're here. But it's surprising just talking about you listening to the podcast over the Christmas break. I had a friend message me and he's like, I wonder what that apartment story is from. It was him. It was his apartment with the car stacker.
Oh,
he
yeah.
listens to the podcast. I didn't know that.
Does he
Oh,
not know
he
you
didn't
tell that
recognise it?
story to
No,
everyone?
he did. That's why he was like, I recognise the apartment story, but I didn't know he listened to the podcast.
Oh.
So I was laughing so hard. I was like, well, others are learning from your mistake.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah.
We should get him on it. What not to do.
The best way to emancipate yourself
That's
from your
not-
suffering is to use it to teach others.
Yeah.
Don't tell him that's what the episode's going to be about.
Yes.
Before you do it.
Oh, my God.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I think, he did all the faux pas of buying real estate. But anyway,
Yes.
good guy.
Yeah, good guy.
But
Now,
stick to your day
Emma.
job. Emma.
You're a very clever lady.
Yes. Engage the best of the best.
Yes,
Thank
but also
you.
you're a professional. You're a
Yeah.
sought after professional. You know exactly what you're doing in your life. You're very decisive. You're across, difficult concepts. You're not confused in your life. So
I'm
what?
glad I come across that way. So.
You really do. You really do.
You are in commercial property.
I am.
That's your
Yes.
your job.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
But when
yeah.
you're buying your family home with, the husband, the kid
my
in tow,
gosh.
it's all
too
and
much.
one on the way. You
It
were
was one on the
pregnant
way
as well.
Yeah, so I had complete brain fog as it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't, make heads or tails of it.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about the journey, how it started, because I know that you were looking for was it 6 months and was it active? Was it
Yeah.
passive? Had you got your pre-approval? Where were you at?
Yeah. When we got in contact with you, it was very passive up until we reached out to you.
Yeah.
Me and my husband both had investment properties which we needed to sell. And I think when I first reached out to you, you sort of gave us a bit of advice on how to kind of deal with that, sell this one, then that one.
Yeah.
Then we'll, relook at what the finances are going to be like to buy our family home.
I think you
'cause
also
we've been renting
consulted your financial planner, which I think is
Yes,
so
we did have
good.
a really great financial planner who kind of helped us work through all of that as well. And then it was tricky. My family lives kind of inner east. My husband's family all
yes.
lives Bayside. We'd been
Mm.
renting for a couple of years. So where were we going to end up? We were both, I was had spent 10 years living in Richmond in the heart of it.
Yeah.
To
and
me,
you both
any-
work in the city.
Exactly. To me,
Yeah.
moving out of, 5K from Richmond, I was like, God, no, that'll be
Yeah.
the suburbs.
Where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
my husband down in Aspendale, he was like, yes, the Bayside life. So we were coming at it from very different points of view to start with.
Which I think
Yeah.
is so common.
Yeah.
You might be living in the same spot and have been renting together but buying the big family home, you've got other considerations as well. You've got the commute into work, you've got the childcares, you've got the access to grandparents for the occasional babysitting.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot more factors at play and it's a lot
Yeah.
more permanent buying the big,
Yeah.
investing the couple of
It's
$1 million.
scary. There's too many things to
Yeah.
get your head around to be like, this is what's going to be right.
Yes.
And I think that's interesting because you had both bought before. Like you were
Yes.
fine with buying
Yeah.
real estate. That's not what scared you. That's not why you probably reached out, I
Yeah.
would imagine.
No.
Did you use an advocate when you bought the investment?
I did.
You did.
Yes.
I thought you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you understand the value of outsourcing.
Yeah. So I had done that before, and that investment was done in Geelong.
Yes.
And so I'd used a different advocate to buy down there.
Yeah.
And it was a really good experience. So for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer coming into this.
Yeah.
And luckily my husband was on the same page and also just saw the value.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he's in finance, so it's a real line item on the budget sheet.
But remember, I worked with him on selling the Aspendale property before we worked together for the purchase. So that was, in many ways, like the conversation for you with us about buying the family home, it was a long time.
Yeah.
It was sort of almost, what would you say, like 9 months or something prior?
At least.
Yeah.
Which I also think was really good because we'd gotten to know you. So you, Sam, obviously helped us buy because we bought in the sort of, what do you call it?
Southeast.
Yeah.
And so that made us, I guess, comfortable with working with you, which I think is something really important. You talk a lot about buyers agents on your podcast, and there's a lot of negativity around dealing with them. So I think you've got to have someone that you're really comfortable with, which was great that we had a long-standing relationship.
Yeah, we had by that time, hadn't we? Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
So talk to us through the process, Sam, because obviously you guys work together, so I don't know much. I'll be the interviewer.
Okay.
You guys be the interviewee.
Yes,
so Sam's Em's not just in the hot seat. But how did that process look around sort of getting clear on suburbs? Because I think maybe it sounds like if you pulled from different directions with from the family point of view and having that community around you, how did you get clear on, was it just, okay, we'll get out and look at a few pockets, we send them out on the weekend, have a coffee in this, that and the other area?
Yeah.
Or was it like, no, for your budget you're getting this here?
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah. It started with us sort of understanding you want both parties to feel heard, so you want to understand. So they were on different pages for location essentially.
Yeah.
Very. And that sort of was a bit of a sticking point for a period of time. And so like asking those sort of leading questions to understand the factors for why each wants each area. So that's fine. So we take all that on. And then to start with, we sort of looked at property that was going to go under budget in the areas that we were considering. And that process eliminates certain areas straight away.
Yeah.
It can do. But then it's still
It was a harsh reality.
It was, wasn't it?
I think I came away. There was one day I remember we looked at like a number of different townhouses around Bentley, and then we looked, it must have been in like Carnegie. There was a couple of more period homes, but the layout was really wrong. And I think I left, I don't know if I ever told you this, I left in tears, like beside myself, just being like, this is so unattainable for us.
Yeah.
We cannot get what we want.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to move to Aspendale.
Yes. Because that was what he was pushing for. We never looked at anything that far down.
No, we didn't. But I was like, my gosh.
It was one of those things where you want everyone to feel heard, You go through the motions of the process of like, let's look here, let's look there. That was an area he was comfortable with. This was an area you were sort of okay with, but not quite. But it in many ways came down to, in the end, proximity to the city for work and proximity to mum and sister.
Yeah.
Which and that was also a harsh reality of who are these other people who are going to be there every week with the kids. And it was in the end your mum and sister, and his family obviously was, further away, but they were less inclined to be there weekly. So it was sort of came down to those types of factors.
But this is what I hear from young couples all the time, this constant push-pull of like, the support, we need to consider that, we need to consider the schooling. And also by having the conversation with us, we are thinking 5 to 10 years of this home. Yeah. And so you need to consider childcare, you need to consider primary school, you need to consider access to grandparents and access to work hubs and things. And it can be a lot of things to factor in.
Totally. But let me ask you a question now, because now you're in what you would have considered the suburbs, right?
It's not the suburbs at all. It's not even that far away.
It's getting wine bars.
Away.
It's 10 minutes. We're 10 minutes,
from everywhere.
Yeah.
I reckon that is such my catch cry about that area. It's 10 minutes from everywhere.
It is.
It is 10 minutes from freaking everywhere. But if you're used to the Richmond lifestyle and the Richmond life and the Richmond environment,
it
it feels crazy because you're going down Dandenong Road.
Yeah, and I didn't want to
keep
cross
going.
over Dandenong Road. I was like,
Yeah.
that was
That's
outside
right.
of my
Crazy
mental
concept.
Melways.
Yeah. And then as soon as you're
Melways,
there,
showing your age.
I know shit.
yeah, and it's so funny because obviously we bought for another young couple who in the end we bought right around the corner from where you purchased, and
now
you guys
great
met
family
at the park.
So with kids the same age.
Amazing.
We're going on a weekend away with them in a few weeks.
Really? Oh my God, I love them.
That's adorable.
That is adorable. But that's who's moving into those areas
Yeah.
is
Oh, it
all
was
these young
perfect.
families. And it's like, in many ways, it's the right environment for the kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the lifestyle for them in an area like that versus in the inner city streets of Richmond, very different, I reckon.
Yeah. So let's talk process. So
Yeah.
you've gone through a handful of properties. You've had a cry. We're probably not
Had a cry.
I know.
You were
Very-
pregnant.
I was very
Yes.
emotional.
Yeah.
Very
And,
emotional.
and that one, particularly in Carnegie that we looked at, that was north facing, good sized block, nice street, but inside.
Yeah.
The bathroom was like
In the middle.
right when you walked in. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah. It
Which
wasn't
so
good.
so
sad.
many of the floor plans in that pocket of Melbourne have the toilet smack bang in the
in the
bathroom
middle.
in the middle,
Yeah.
down the end of the
renovated
hallway.
it 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So from that point, then what did it look like? Or what did you like about the process? Or what did you think that you didn't expect out of the process? Did you expect more off markets, less off markets, more contact, less contact? You didn't get out. You got out a good amount of time, to
Yeah.
see property, or it was good that you just got the videos and you just knew that you're only inspecting the good stuff? Or
I think it was pretty quick from us, from like the first weekend that we went to kind of like, was it 6 or 7 properties on a
Yeah.
Saturday. It would have been maybe only 4 weeks later that we bought.
Wow.
That, like, it was quick to find, really narrow it down. But I think we needed that because we were so unsure. And I think we went into it, even I was like, townhouse, like new townhouse.
New.
That's going to be easy, comfortable, clean, ready to
comfortable.
walk in.
Totally. Bring
And
the
we
baby
looked at all these
home.
townhouses and I was like, oh, there's no personality. They
Yeah.
don't feel like a comfortable, like cozy home.
Yeah.
And so that's when we started looking at period houses.
Yeah.
And then it was a real sort of wake up then on kind of like our budget in these areas doesn't match up.
Yeah.
And so then we widened the search a bit
Yeah.
after that.
We went to the very next suburb over.
widened it one
One
suburb.
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 And it's incredible how different it can be.
But still walking distance to the train station, still close to parks, still close to great wine bars. Tick,
Yeah,
tick, tick.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so 4 weeks. Sam, you bought an off market. How did
We
you do
did.
it?
Mm.
You know, the guy that we bought it off, old Jackie Slater, I've had a very good relationship with him for many years. And with all of the agents in that area, like that's where I've always operated. I know them personally, professionally, have done for many years. We've done countless deals together on both sides, vendor advocacy, buying. The relationship is super strong and we were the only buyer who went through that house.
And who were the sellers?
Downsizes.
Yeah. Wanted
Yeah.
that quick, easy,
Yeah.
seamless.
And they had bought something. They had a complicated situation, and that is often the case. And so
With
they
the
were
off-markets.
they were highly motivated for the ease. And in terms of price, of course, naturally as you do, we just went back and forth. We came to a point at which everyone was happy and comfortable. But it was also on settlement that we were sort of using that as a huge draw card for the negotiation in settlement. But it's that fact of, what we were looking at that time of the market on market was being competed for. Like it wasn't, not a lot was passing in. There was strong competition, particularly for those period homes.
Big family homes.
And family homes in that area. They're just, that's what people are looking for at the moment. Carnegie and surrounding suburbs is no longer a secret. Whereas, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was really an unknown area. Glenn Huntley's poor cousin. But now it's like, Carnegie is a hub. absolute hub of activity and family lifestyle and all these factors.
Are you doing this to push the prices up in the local area for
Mate,
fast
I
food?
just really, I believe where I buy. You know, I just
Yeah,
really
I agree.
believe in these areas, and I see it, and I can see where they're going, and I see what the future holds.
And we've seen it over the last 10, 15 years because we've been in the game.
Exactly.
Whereas
The Abbotsfords of the world, the Collingwoods of the world, the Elstonwicks of the world, the Brighton Norths, Hampton East, all of these areas. 15 years ago, no one would have ever considered them blue chip, and now they're absolutely blue chip. And the sprawl is only going to continue anyway. So those areas, but yeah, it's getting in because of that relationship with the agent. You know, they just know that you've got a client who's ready to buy, which you guys were, and by that time, you were feeling. I thought you were bloody decisive.
Yeah,
by that
ready
point.
to go.
You were
Yeah,
ready
we
to make a
knew.
decision.
With this off-market transaction, so you understood the vendor's motivations, which sounds like it was sort of timing. That was really critical for them, having settlements that sort of married up.
Yeah.
But you were also able to buy it, correct me if I'm wrong, subject to building and pest inspection, which a lot of Melbourne and a lot of that area is auction-centric. So you just have to do your building inspection, get the contract review, fingers crossed you win it at auction.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you knew that you had agreements on price and terms, and then you could do the building and pest.
Yeah. And look, when we did the building and pest, it didn't come back clean, like completely clean. It
As
came
they never
back
do.
as they never do with these old homes.
Yeah, 100-year-old homes.
And almost particularly when they've been renovated, because the works that they'd done in that ensuite bathroom that had water issues underneath that were going to need to be dealt with at some point. And so it's, you know, could that have been received by you guys as just the buyers direct, and you think, I'm nervous now, and so now I might pull out. But I think for us to help them sort of take that step back and look at it way more holistically as like, look at the house as a whole, look at the location, look at the street, look at the orientation, it's still absolutely worth it, even though, yes, okay, you might have to do some work at some point, which is going to be the case on all of those, like we saw.
Yeah, they're older weatherboard houses. Like they need constant work. So,
but if we had have shown you just that house and been like, buy it at this price, I just don't reckon it's impossible to make that decision. It's a process. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If we'd gone straight there, we would have been like,
too much work.
But it was knocking out all of the other things,
possibilities
we thought we wanted to realise. And I think that, I mean, gosh, that's where I saw the most value. Yeah. As you said, like my daughter was 2.5 at the time, and I was 20 weeks pregnant. So, you know, I was not spending Saturdays doing, you know, going to auctions and things around my by myself.
Yeah.
So
do you remember those two little houses we looked at in Elstonwick?
Yes.
Near the park.
Oh my gosh.
Great spot. That's what we wanted, Elstonwick. But then you go in and technically it's got 3-bed, 2-bath, but they're tiny.
I couldn't imagine us living in that.
Being
We're already
there.
talking about renovating.
Seriously.
my God.
But imagine being there.
And this is what we can chat about. You've done minor tweaks to the property since you bought it, which I think, I mean, you've sent some photos into us, which has been great, have made such a difference, but they're not huge expenses. You can chip away because you've been in there, I think, 12 months. What have those been? And like, you know, are you getting inspo from Pinterest or how
So the two main things that we've done are sort of upgrade all the lighting. It was very old lighting, old fans that had just been there for a long time. So we just made them all modern, downlights everywhere.
Right.
Nice.
Makes such a difference.
Yeah.
The plan after that, which we have done, was to upgrade the blinds, curtains in the kind of living and dining area that was all like, oh my gosh, what was this?
Dated.
Old floral.
How long have the vendors been in there for?
Oh, an entire generation.
Like 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You want to buy off those people though, because they really have looked after the home.
Oh,
That
they wrote us a
garden
letter.
was amazing.
No.
They wrote you a letter.
They wrote us a letter, which was like a history of the house. They were saying we had 21st, 18th birthdays here. I hope you get to celebrate your own kid. It gives me goosebumps.
Oh my God,
it's
giving me
goosebumps. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it
passing
was
the
so
baton.
nice. Yeah, it really felt like that. And yeah, the upgrades that we've, like the small upgrades that we've done,
Yeah.
purely aesthetic.
Yeah.
and they just have given the area a total different feel.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But like that garden is magical.
That north-facing garden.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like
It's a lot of weeds that grow in
there.
there.
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to say, what does it look like?
Poor Tristan. He's
Are you
out in
like,
the
get out there
garden.
and sort this out. Make it look like
He's
it used
at Bunnings
to.
every week.
That's so funny you say
I
that.
say that to everyone. You're going to be at Bunnings every weekend.
Yeah. I actually reached out to a client that I bought for late last year. I was like, how's everything going? You know, da-da-da. They're like, well, we're getting really used to gardening. And I said to them, well, I've heard that being in touch with nature is very grounding.
It is. It's actually
They're like,
really
thanks. Therapeutic.
and very rewarding.
It's
like when you
all
pull out a
about
whole section of
mindfulness.
weeds, great. Makes your life feel good.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
achieving something.
Accomplished.
Yes.
Have you got Ruby on it? Does she know what she's doing?
Oh, loves it.
Loves it.
I left her at home ready with her gardening gloves on to scrub the deck. Not
Stop.
even making that up.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Suburbia.
I know.
Yeah. But
I love it. That's good. That's what you want. And that's slow family life. I think that's like,
Yeah.
that's enjoying, you know, your home life.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I mean, this was your first home that you'd purchased to live in. Looking back, is there any sort of things that you would have told your prior self, I mean, either working with us, not working with us, just from a buying perspective that you like learned, like to think about, like, is there any sort of…
I think it really just doubled down on my belief on having a buyer's advocate. I mean,
Love that.
I know that's exactly what you want to hear, but honestly, like, you know, you pay someone to do all the important things in your life. And like, this is the biggest expenditure that you're going to have or the biggest purchase that you're probably going to make. So why not find someone who you can work with and knows the game to buy it for you? And I 100%, well, exactly, right?
That
like,
is
you know,
great.
the money that you're going to spend on their fee, whichever advocate you go with, you're going to actually completely make up in terms of like the time you spent, the purchase price, not overpaying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that I would have always, looking at property, have been confused about was like, is the asking price realistic? Because, you know, everyone always underquotes.
Yes.
So, you know, like,
is it realistic?
I know you're not allowed to, but, you know, how do you know? And how do you know what else is going on in the market in that area? So that's where you need the inside knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you can find that stuff out, but you've got a job and a family life and all of these things going on. You know, it's sort of, and we're doing that naturally every day because that's just what our job is. So it's sort of, it's obviously we think a no-brainer, but
Yeah. And I think honestly, I mean, one thing that people get so fixated on when working with us is that initial outlay of cost. But I can't wait for you guys to, you know, sell whenever that may be and just realize this huge growth because you really have bought A-grade real estate. And like it's I hope it's a delight to live in. Yes, little niggles of an old property that you've got to maintain and things. But, you know, that will be super beneficial for your life, for your kids, for your, the next stage. So, good one. Good one, Sam. Well
Thank you,
done.
Sam.
Oh, pleasure.
Off-market, north-facing, double-fronted
good.
Victorian.
And I think didn't Jack called at like 10 p.m. on the Friday night to say he'd done it.
Yes, yes.
Now, the great thing, you're not getting a call from Jack at 10 o'clock at night when the kids are down and you're probably asleep.
Exactly.
I know. That the number of deals that go on at 10 p.m.
I know.
is with
when we
that?
hadn't
I don't
heard,
know.
we were like, nah. And then
I know.
it was late
It
at
was
night.
so good. Yeah, that was a bloody good buy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just good house too. I loved that house. Great street. Near the pub, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All the factors. Yeah, but thank you for trusting us with the
Oh.
process and everything. And I'm so happy that, you know, you're a believer and spread the good word.
I know, spread the,
Absolutely.
spread the good word because she won't be selling anytime soon.
No.
Loves it. That's a
And she
problem
just
with
said she's going to have 18s at the
I
house.
know. And that's a problem with us buying all this good real estate for our clients, for our owner
Now
occupiers.
you've got to stay for the full generation.
Yeah.
The only reason you might move is something to do with high school access.
Mm.
Something about that, but I just doubt it. I reckon you'll
10
just
years
go.
in my future, so I'm not worrying about that just yet.
Okay, well, our
Yeah.
phones will still be available.
Thank you.
I've
Yeah.
never changed my number yet.
Never
Yeah.
changed. I actually had an agent the other day go, 0418. Wow, you must have got that when you were young. I was like, no, it was my stepdad's. He passed it on to me. But I was like, that's funny that he remembers that 0418 is like
What are the
one of
new
the
phone
original.
numbers?
0417. 0417?
Mine's 0434.
Yeah.
What's
You're
yours?
really new.
041
No, I've had mine
0413?
since I was.
Oh.
I've had mine since I got a phone.
Oh.
Yeah,
They must be handing them out differently down at Bayside.
yeah, maybe down
Yeah.
at Southland Telstra store.
Oh, Southland Telstra. God damn.
It's out of my mental malaise.
Or
sorry.
Telco. What was it called? Telecom.
Oh,
Telecom.
gosh. Sam.
Oh, God. All right, says Melways.
When are you talking about Melways?
Halfway through the podcast, you mentioned Melways. I mean, the
I
young
must have
people.
zoned out.
Focus.
Oh,
no, but
gosh.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Because you
you.
know the podcast, you know what section we have coming up.
I'm excited.
Our favourite.
Yeah.
F, marry, kill. All
Go for
right.
it, Sam.
You've bought so well, Emma, that in just a few short years, you will be in a position financially to buy your dream holiday home. Where's it going to be?
Woo! What are the
The
options?
big one.
Point Lonnie, Point
Yeah.
Lonsdale for those not in the know, Phillip Island,
Yeah.
or Rye, Back Beach.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to kill Rye.
Whoa.
Yeah. Sorry.
Not your people.
Back
Just not my
Beach?
people down there.
Back Beach?
Back
Yeah.
beach, front beach, it's all the same.
No.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I'll let you say
Did you
what
see
you
the
want.
traffic on the weekend coming back from
Yeah,
the
that is
Peninsula?
brutal.
Don't need that in my life.
I have to
now that I
go
live in
there
the
on
suburbs.
Saturday morning. I'm scared.
Oh, stressful. But it
Yeah.
was a,
Yep, killing Ryback Beach.
I'm going to marry Phillip Island.
Oh my
Okay.
god!
And
That's weird.
F Point Lonsdale because they've got lovely wineries down there, which are, good for a
Hoodoo,
good time.
Point Lonsdale.
Point Lonsdale. Okay. Phillip
yeah,
Island
I
is
always
such
think
a
of
drive.
Point Lonsdale as having one little bakery and one little cafe.
No, they've got that.
No, there's nice things down
Bray.
There's yes,
Bray?
I don't know
Isn't
it
Bray
that well
that
down there.
restaurant?
Actually.
Yes, beautiful.
And
Oh,
also,
yep. Okay.
There's
I
Very
haven't been
close to
Bray.
Queenscliff.
And
Lots of
there's-
wineries on the Bellarine Peninsula.
Foxy.
Okay.
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
on the other side. Anyway,
Jackrabbit.
okay, did not expect that, but
Yeah.
interesting.
Just
I
keeping
love
you
that.
on your toes.
Yeah, that is just
Yes.
so unexpected, and I love it.
You've
Well,
got
we-
time to expand your service to Phillip Island now.
Yes.
well,
Oh, mate, I'll go down there. I once dated a boyfriend who lived down there. I used to drive down there no, I better not say how quick it took me
no,
because that will
no.
give me away.
But yeah, we will, and we can't wait for you to give us a call in the next couple of years with all that sweet equity
Thank
that you've got
you.
in that property.
I know.
I'm excited.
No, but
Congrats
thank
on
you.
the purchase. Congrats
Yeah.
on the sales, the 2 sales. Congrats on the babies.
I was just going to
And
say
the
that.
marriage.
The babies. Sheesh,
And the
it's been a big few
husband.
years.
It's been a big few years.
Yes. No,
I
but
love
thanks
it.
for joining us and keep listening.
Will do.
Bye for now.
Bye.